Welcome to the Leg It Sportcast. It's me, Andy Grant.
It's me, Jordan Neal.
I should have said, actually, I'm now Mystic Meg after last week.
Tables are turned.
Tables have turned. I correctly said that Leicester would lift the cup, which they did. I should have been a bit more bold and said they'd win it in 90 minutes.
Yeah, what was it, 90 minutes? 3-1 or something?
3-1, I think, yeah. And I think them to lift the cup was 9-5. So finally got me bet in, and I was absolutely ecstatic.
To go after that fella at the school. Yeah, we tipped aren't bad.
Can't wait to see him next.
But yeah, it was good bet, mate.
I was buzzing not only with the bet, but as well, I was glad that Chelsea didn't.
Yeah, what a goal to win it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I can't believe as well that he's there was a Sky Sports Instagram thing where where there's a Chelsea fan saying it was a lucky goal.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I thought that was brilliant. It was one of the best goals in the final. That because you think it reminds me a little bit of actually the is it Ray Parlour?
Yeah, but it's
Arsenal Chelsea.
Yeah, even like it was like obviously Gerrard, not to bring it back to Liverpool all the time, but Gerrard and West Ham and stuff. The FA Cup final just froze up worldy goals, doesn't it?
Brilliant goal.
He deserved it, best player on the pitch by some distance.
I think as well, one thing that we've not touched upon in the sportscast is you weren't a bad footballer yourself as well.
That was alright. Yeah, not too bad. Played for like Accrington up until 18, 19. But yeah, that's a past life now.
No, but I'm saying, you can appreciate the game a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm a bit torn down the middle. Sometimes I hate football, sometimes I love it, do you know what I mean? But sort of seeing players like him, like Tielemans, Thiago for Liverpool as well, sort of do have an appreciation for them sort of players, do you know what I mean? But,
I think you said at the time on a text, like the time he had on the ball, he just seemed to...
For me, that's my number one thing for a player if I look at a footy match. Because when you do play, you do look at it a bit different, I think, from someone who obviously hasn't played. I guess like anything, but yeah, if someone who looks like they always have time, especially at that level, they're pretty special, do you know what I mean? Because he's obviously 2-3 steps ahead in his mind, and it just obviously plays out on the pitch. But yeah, he's a top player, Tielemans, and I said to you, I think there could be a few people sniffing around him.
Yeah, especially if Leicester don't get in the Champions League. I mean, I knew I've been aware of him for the season, but that game I watched it, and I did think like, wow, he's had an unbelievable game today.
I've done it a couple of times. I do not watch Leicester religiously, but when I have, he's always playing well. Do you know what I mean? He's one of them players. Like, I don't think he's outstanding at anything in particular, but he's really good at everything. Do you know what I mean? He can tackle a bit, he can pass, he can score goals. Yeah. He's quick, he's athletic. Just got the package. You know what I mean? It
was nice as well to see the Suns owner. Obviously, you forget it, a couple of years, 2-3 years ago, when the helicopter crash at Leicester. Leicester's owner died, and then it was nice to see his son come on the pitch with the cup.
So the FA Cup it'll always be special, won't it? And to see that celebration and that, they've obviously been through a lot. To be fair to him, how he's still obviously still heavily involved in the club. That's testament probably to him, because it must be tough.
Yeah. Some of the story, I was pleased for Rodgers as well.
Yeah.
You look at him and you look at Jamie Vardy playing, I think, non-league, playing for Fleetwood in 2012, was it, I think? He's won the Premier League and the FA Cup.
What a career that is, but at the end of the day, when he sits down, he does eventually retire, which I don't reckon's any day soon. Still sharp, isn't he? Still fit.
Still drinking his Red Bull, isn't he, before the game?
Yeah. He'll have a mohawk next season.
He does that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Apparently he does.
That's a proper non-league thing. Yeah. I mean, Red Bull and Jaffa cakes.
Brendan Rodgers, right, talking about character. Yeah. Gone boss, Red Bull.
But yeah, to be fair for Rodgers, like, because, I think he might eventually start getting a bit of stick if they don't get Champions League. Obviously for him to get a trophy, it sort of eases that a little bit, doesn't it? And for Leicester, the FA Cup's massive. Massive for everyone, but...
He won't ever admit it, will he? But I wonder if they go at the end of the season, if they do finish 5th, they go, would you swap your FA Cup for 4th?
To be honest, it's a serious discussion nowadays, isn't it? In terms of revenue. For me, though.
I think for the club, yeah, it's like, give me top 4, but I think individually, it's all about wanting...
that's me, that.
Is that you? It's all about wanting trophies, isn't it, as an individual?
I don't think anyone can ever deny that you would want a trophy, because at the end of the day, once you retire, one, people don't care much anymore, but two, it's like... No one wants to sit there and go, you know what, I qualify for the Champions League. Want to say, look at that FA Cup medal, do you know what I mean?
100%, and if Leicester do qualify, they're not winning it. Let's be honest.
No. Probably got a better chance of winning the Europa League.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And obviously the Europa League for them would be massive again, but not to like downplay them, but yeah, I think winning trophies is number one, innit?
Yeah, so I was made up day one And I've made got me betting. Tired turn for you though.
Yeah, it did. I was frustrated with myself because the reason I put Yafai up points is because I think he was 4-11 for the knockout, which I knew wouldn't happen. He was like 1-33 to win, but I knew Jason Cunningham was much better than the bookies were giving him a chance, and I just didn't agree with it. But so that tells me, which is obviously a little lesson for myself, I should have backed Jason Cunningham because I knew he was better than they were saying. But I thought that if I had everything stacked in his favour, I thought he'd come through a tough fight and get a points decision. And I didn't think Cunningham had the power to hurt him because I think he's got 6 knockouts in like 38 fights or something. So it would suggest it's not quite there. But mate, he dropped him 3 times, I think 4 times. Round 2, round 4, round 6, and buzzed him pretty much every time he hit him with his left hand. Made up for Jason Cunningham because even with the knockdowns I thought at the end, don't rob this guy, do you know what I mean? Because I said to you last week, he only loses to the best kids. Didn't even have a Twitter account before. I think he's like an old school Yorkshire-based boxer, do you know what I mean? Just turns up and fights. Yeah. And, you know, he's now, I think he's been British champion, 2-time Commonwealth champion, now European champion. Serious career, do you know what I mean? But just never, ever got any credit for it because he's not flashing, he's not like popular on social media.
But he's big in his like little local village, but again, it won't be.
But that's what I mean, like he trains out of Yorkshire with Steffi Bull and stuff, and they are a small little camp. But, you know, he'll probably fade into the abyss not the abyss, but he'll go back to normal life once he retires. And then there'll be one there in the pub, do you know, he was British champion, Commonwealth champion, European champion, like, what, him?
Yeah, that old fella at the end of the bar. Yeah, he's hard as fuck.
Yeah, and he'll chin you if you But yeah, it was just, I sort of loved them stories, but I was frustrated with myself that I did, because I knew that he was better than the bookies. I
remember we had Harry Finley on the podcast, and he'd probably be a good guest for the Sportscast, and he said, a little bit like what you're saying, he said, sometimes you see women at the races, and they'll go, what else shall I do, you know, to the fella? And then she'll go, oh, there's that one. You'll give her the price or something, and she'll say, oh, what if I, you know, it might be 1 to 2. Well, so if I put £2 on, I only get £1 back.
Yeah.
Why don't I do that? Or it's 16 when I get 32.
Yeah.
It's like, well, just because it's, you know,
that's the right bet. Yeah.
That's the right bet to do. The 1 to 2. Yeah, you might not win much, but you know, you put your £2 on, you might get £1 back. But now you've got £3 for the next bet.
To be honest, for me, like the whole system I've developed for myself is finding places where I think the bookies are wrong in boxing, and I found one, but I convinced myself that it wouldn't happen and that, you know, take the safer money there. Whereas, you know, if I sat down and I said, who do I think's got a better chance of winning that fight, I'd say Yafai, but they were wrong on Jason Cunningham, so I should have. Oh, just one of them, you never stop learning, do you? But yeah, as I said last week, you know, you hit a great run in betting or whatever, but it's always nice to bring you back down to it.
Yeah. I think what we'll do as well then is we'll go back, obviously we think 7 or 8 episodes in, I'll go back and we'll work out to a pound stake if you'd be up or down, whether it's me and you and the double. Because I think it probably is up.
Yeah, I think we are up, yeah.
Well, you've thankfully dragged us up, but yeah, so I'll do that maybe for the next podcast.
It's good, mate, and it's good to see people getting involved. Like, we've had a couple of people on Twitter.
Yeah,
and
I've
stuff
seen a few people tweeting the doubles and stuff, and my mate John Paul had tweeted me, and he actually tweeted me and said, lad, I've just listened to the Sportscast, look what Bet had done, and he showed me the time he'd done it.
Oh, really?
That I hadn't even listened to what you'd said.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd done the bet you'd done on the boxing. So
it's good, like, it's good entertainment, it's good fun, like, it's good to get people engaging, you know what I
mean? Yeah. So last weekend, FA Cup final, and then our week can change in favours. You talk about the, you know, ecstasy of winning the FA Cup, to then Leicester get beat midweek by Chelsea, and then you see the holy goalie, Alisson Becker.
Ridiculous. We were texting, wasn't we, Jordan?
Yeah.
And we were just slating. They deserve nothing. We deserve nothing from that game. West Brom probably should have won, if you're truthful.
Did you see Sam Allardyce's interview at the end of the game?
He's left, hasn't he, now? Yeah. He said he's leaving at the end of the season.
I just, you know what emoji makes me fucking cry? Is that injection thing.
Yeah.
And he was just being dead bitter, saying about, he was moaning about something. And then I just look on Twitter, it's like, inject this into my veins.
Yeah. It's true with him as well, because he
fucking hates Liverpool.
Yeah, he does hate Liverpool, and he's got one over on us a couple of times. But
I think Jurgen Klopp had won 5 games without beating him. Longer than Mourinho.
Can you imagine
Guardiola.
how much he loved that?
Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but if you go to dinner with Sam Allardyce, you don't get a word in the
I'd say I got a funny story about him. He obviously he was the England manager for like a brief spell. Did he even have a game? Did he?
Nah. Well, I think he had one, yeah, and then he got done, didn't he?
Yeah, he got done for bribery or something. But a lot of his staff stayed.
Yeah.
So I was with one of the staff members, and they were like, before the game, like, I think he was just obviously he's a bit older and he's what 60, 50,
Yeah,
60.
he's getting on.
So he's just in that kind of 70s, 80s of football.
Yeah, no filter.
Yeah, and he's like, you know, before the game though, he had all the staff like in the hotel like getting bladdered.
Yeah.
You know, the physios and everyone. And he's like, no, you're not going to bed. Another glass of wine.
It's like Mike Bassett, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what he comes across like. But staff was saying, oh yeah, like you weren't allowed to go to. You know, you just think of, you know, a young, like analyst.
Yeah, sports scientist
Sitting there, doesn't drink, fucking just got out of uni. And I was like, go, another pint for you.
Yeah.
And that's what he's like, apparently.
To be honest, this won't be his last job, West Brom. He'll be back somewhere.
You say that, but he had a bit of a pop at the media, didn't he? And said, you know, use a pigeonhole me into this, like, he'll do it, and he'll come in and he'll...
CV,
And he said, you know, you say I do one brand of football, I come in and just rescue teams, I'm not... He said, I'm much more than that, but he said, use a pigeonhole me, and he had a little bit of a pop at the media.
Maybe, yeah. But to be fair, like, when he was at Bolton, he had that period where he's bringing mad players to the Prem. Remember, like...
JJ Kocha.
Fernando Hierro played for Bolton. Ivan Campo.
Was it Kocha there when he...
Yeah, Kocha. Wrote a Kocha.
Hierro, he won the World Cup as well, didn't he?
Djorkaeff. He wrote him as well. Do you know what I mean? So he was like...
Djorkaeff, what a player.
He was before his time. Allardyce is just bringing all these imports in.
Mate, you know what we should do? Don't know, people fucking at home would be probably thinking... I say now, anyone who's listening to this probably has the same mindset to me and you, but do a podcast on just Championship Manager players and stuff.
Oh, mate, I love it.
No, I always used to sign Martin Palermo.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone remember him, like, but he once missed 3 penalties in one game.
Did he, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what my little go-to was on Footy Manager or Champ Manager? I used to get whatever team I could to League One, and then Obafemi Martin to be about 39. And you could sign him for nothing, and he'd just take you to the Prem.
Really, yeah.
League One, Obafemi Martin.
When he could do a job.
Played
Freddie Adu was mine.
Yeah, played 39, scored 71.
Yeah, Martin Palermo, mate. He was like, I don't even know what year that was, but
I mean,
you could do a podcast on that, by
100%.
the way. Oh.
Mate, I remember when I was at university, I'd come home to see me missus and stuff, and she'd be at her mum's house, and I'd just come in, just load Footy Manager up. She's like, you've been at university for 6 weeks, saying, oh, love, got a good run in the Carabao Cup here.
Did you ever go on that bit where you saved it and it said how long you'd been on it for? First thing I ever done
121
that.
121 days.
121 miles, 121 weeks. Oh, mate.
They were the days.
I should never have done that because I fell out of love with it a bit after that.
Yeah.
I like worked out continuous days you've been on it.
I got too
like,
emotionally invested, me. I was like, you know what I mean? Calling board meetings. Get some more, dog.
My half fellas going, you teased on. I was like, it's not the right time, Dad.
You suit on.
He's in my bed with my style. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
But
we've got off subject.
Gone off subject a little bit, but yeah, so Leicester's fortunes turned massively with Alisson, and you know what, mate, it made me fall in love with footy again.
That was footy, wasn't it? Every Sunday league pitch in the country, don't dream of that happening, the goalie going up and that, but you know, in a world now where we live in, where footy's so diluted, still can't take away them moments, do you know what I mean? Imagine VAR called that, but yeah, just that was footy at its best.
Yeah, at its proper natural best.
As I was saying to you before, like with my history with football, I am a bit resentful to it sometimes, but you cannot watch them moments and not be like, wow, do you know what I mean? This is unbelievable.
It's the type of moments in it where your missus goes, oh, did something happen in the foot? What was that? I've seen everyone cheating off. Just all everyone's talking about is that. It's like, wow, son, boss has just
only footy can throw that up.
And the fact the year he's had, he's lost his dad. He's still had a new baby boy, I think. He's not been able to go back to Brazil to see his family after his half fella passed away. I know COVID's been bad for everyone. And I think you sometimes can look at football and go, oh, he's a millionaire, he's fucking got everything. Yeah. But
doesn't mean nothing.
Don't care how old you are, you lose your dad, it's hard. And he's had a baby, not being able to see his family in Brazil.
I think that's half the problem, innit? Be like, you know, you watch him and you expect him to keep playing at this top level. When you're going through that, it does not matter what position you're in, socially, financially, anything. Like, you've got feelings and you hate like anyone else, but it's like, for him to, you know, I'm sure it does not heal what's happened to him at all, but it's one of them moments, isn't it, where he's got a bit of respite and be like, enjoy it for a minute.
His interview was emotional as well after it.
I thought it was a brilliant interview, actually, because there was no part of it that was like, you know, just glad to get 3 points for the lads. Yeah. You know, and it was just pure and raw emotion, wasn't it?
Which we spoke about, and it can be quite boring, can't it? And he was just so...
I switch off, mate. And Nat Phillips was like that. When did the night... last night when Liverpool played Burnley. Yeah, short-term memory loss there, but yeah, well, he was like, they were like, oh, you scored for Liverpool, and he was like, oh, did you see me clear that one off the line? Do you know what I mean? He was like
Proper
a kid, but he was like a kid in the first team. Do you know what I mean? So happy with what he was doing. That's footy for me, like.
Yeah. Well, on that result, obviously Liverpool have done another 3-0 after the last-minute goal, puts them in a great position now for the top 4. If they fuck it up now, I'd be surprised. Like, they're playing at Crystal Palace at home, touch wood. All you got to do is win. I can't see. I think the goal difference is +5. I think at the minute. Yeah. Cannot see Leicester beating Spurs 6-0.
No, hopefully not. But yeah, like last week, mate, I would not have sat here and said, you know, we'd be in this position, which is I guess that shows you how quick football can change. But I think Liverpool have got a big degree of luck to be sitting where we are. But you've got to take it on you and just go into next season in the Champions League. You know, dust this one off, bring the players back and go again. But yeah, I'm ready for a break, but let's get into the Champions League for next year.
It's a success, isn't it? Because the injuries they've had, the loss of form, the no crowd, the problems they've had on and off the pitch, to get top 4 when we have played so poorly at times.
I mean, it's easy to take the positives now, innit? I don't think we'd be taking the positives if we were 7th.
I was done.
Yeah, but like obviously there is positives in terms of Nat Phillips. Obviously, like even the kid next to him, Reece Williams, obviously not ready for the Prem yet, but you know, he's doing a job, developing. Thiago been brilliant for weeks.
I think Nat Phillips could definitely play in the Prem next season.
100%. But no matter what happens now, he's going to play. He's going to be a Premier League defender. I'd keep him.
We're saying like Adam is maybe the 3rd or 4th choice,
because you can't rely on Matip as good as he is on his day. You can't rely on him. Probably, you know, Gomez and Van Dijk are probably going to get injured again next year because that's a tough what they've come back from.
Gomez is very injury prone, isn't he?
So to have him, and it's not like he's not, as much as we love him, like he's not gimmick. Do you know what I mean? He's been playing really well. But even if Liverpool don't keep him, he'll play in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's put himself in the shop window if he doesn't.
Look at where he was as well. I think he was on loan in the 2nd tier of German football.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I think he'd have a decent career, but not the career he's going to have now.
Yeah, I think he's done really well, mate. And yeah, so fingers crossed, I think Liverpool should now make it in the Champions League. Looking ahead to the footy this weekend, again, apart from the Champions League, it's the Prem's wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Top 2 sorted, the bottom 3 sorted, it's just that Champions League spot. I looked across Europe though, and similar in Italy, obviously the league's wrapped up with Inter Milan. You've got Juve, who ironically didn't want to be in the Champions League. Looks like we might not be in it anyway.
Got the wish.
Playing, you've got Napoli playing and AC Milan, all playing for the 4th spot, or 3rd and 4th I should say, spots in the Champions League. The only tough game out of them is AC Milan are playing Atalanta. Now, Atalanta are actually 3rd. Sorry, AC Milan are 3rd, Atalanta are 2nd. Obviously, they need at least a draw, AC Milan, to guarantee Champions League football. Napoli are currently in the 4th spot, the last spot, and Juve are currently sitting just outside. They're playing Bologna, who I don't think have got anything to play for. But it's just going to send shockwaves around if they don't get it.
I hope they don't, to be honest. There's like a bit of a statement. Obviously, the Ronaldo factor, he'd be fuming. He'd be looking for a way out. But,
well, I'm guessing, don't have a quick look now, I'm guessing he's top goal scorer in it.
Yeah.
Is it him or Lukaku, do you reckon? I don't know.
I think maybe Lukaku, but I mean, in terms of Juventus' top scorer, he's the main man, isn't he? He takes corners, throw-ins, free kicks. So he's took everything, but...
No, you have Ronaldo. 29.
Still now.
29 goals. He scored. Lukaku, he's had 23.
He's not going to be playing in the Europa League, Ronaldo.
What happens with him?
I don't know.
If they don't make it?
Who's gonna pay his wages?
You got AC Milan 3rd and 4th, both on 76 points, and Juventus are on 75.
He must be on 400 grand a week.
Nah, it's not that much. Saying that, they don't get taxed in Italy, do they? The same.
No, but like, who's gonna bring him? Well, I mean, he's still a great player, one of the best ever. But at his age, you know, where's he gonna go? He's definitely not going to play in the Europa League at this stage of his career. He's just going to not do it. Whether he goes back to Real.
How old is he now?
30. Got to be 34, 35, hasn't he?
He is 36.
Is he? I mean, obviously still at the top of his game, looked after himself amazingly. But
he scored 2 in his last 3. He's fucking...
Still as good as ever, but... Yeah, I mean, the merry-go-round this summer is going to be crazy because, you know, if they don't get in, he's going. You know, you got the likes of Kane, Aguero...
Lukaku, is he going to stay in Inter?
Yeah. To be honest, I can see Lukaku come back to Premier League.
Who for though?
Chelsea maybe. Even Man City. Because imagine, because all he does...
How old is he? Seems to have been around for ages,
I don't think he's that old, you know. He's still in his 20s, Lukaku.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah, he broke onto the scene early doors, mate. And you know, he's one of them players, and like, I've done it as a Liverpool fan and spoke to Everton fans and said, you know, he's not a great player, or, you know, everything breaks down him, but his record can't be beat by many players in terms of goals. No. And if he's in a team where he doesn't have to do much other than score goals...
Yeah, he's a fucking unit, by the way, as well.
Big lad.
So yeah, mate, the Italian league is interesting. So you got AC Milan, Napoli, Juve all going for them. Their 3rd and 4th Champions League spots. One of them's missing out. One massive team is missing out there. That's interesting. Then you've got La Liga. So obviously, Barca can't win it now, but you have got Atletico and Real both fighting for the title. And Real are playing Villarreal, who are playing for the Europa League. They're currently in 7th. And you've got Atletico playing Valladolid, who are 19th, and they need to win to stay up.
Jesus.
So
I hope Atletico do it.
I think Villarreal are qualified for the Europa League, but it's whether they're going to have to start in fucking like
next week to qualify. Yeah. That's weird. A couple of years ago, I think it was Burnley or something, when they qualified. I think the league finished on whatever, like 15th of May, and like 3rd of June they were back out.
I think that's silly, mate. that spot. It's the qualification for the Europa Conference League.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be in that, do they? So
I think you've got to make Atletico favourites, haven't you?
Yeah, they're going to be at home.
Got a little soft spot for Atletico, I'll be honest.
Same, and I just don't want fucking Real Madrid to win.
No.
No, Atletico, are away to Valladolid. The only thing is Valladolid are playing for
something, yeah.
They're playing for something. They're currently on 31 points, and the two above them are both on 33. So it's going to be an interesting in La Liga. I hope they do it. So that's got a bit of a fight to it that last weekend. And also in France, you've got Lille and PSG, the top two.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just assumed PSG won that league every year.
You do, don't you?
Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have even thought anything different.
Mate, when you look at Mbappe, Neymar, and
how are they not winning it?
Exactly. The goal difference is far superior, but at the moment Lille are on 80 points and PSG are on 79.
I'd love Lille to win that, because that'll just cause murder. They went out the Champions League, don't win the domestic league. I'm sure domestic league for them is a given, in it.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, it's win the league.
Standard.
Yeah, Pochettino got a bit of a job on there if he doesn't.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, mate. They're playing against Brest, who need to win, but Lille are top, playing against Angers, who are playing for nothing. So again, they should win even more, or even more. So you'd fancy
insisting summer there if they don't win the league.
Well, yeah, I think we spoke, haven't we, already off camera about getting different guests on the Sportscast. We've got Tony Bellew lined up for it. How we sort that, but I think Stephen Beck's the football agent who we've had on in the past would be good, because like we've just mentioned, it will be a bit of a merry-go-round on the transfer
There's
market.
so much to it as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I think, we can be forgiven for thinking it's just, we'll pay you X amount and send him over. Do you know what I mean? There's so much to a transfer window, especially now. With
COVID now and players maybe not getting what they think they deserve.
No.
It's going to be interesting. Say loads of strikers going to be on the move. Aguero going, Kane going. Whether Bobby will stay around. Mane's had a bit of a shocking season. Don't think either of them. Don't think Mane will go anyway. Definitely not. But Liverpool going to bolster. Man City need to bolster.
I think it's one of them summers where everyone's got to buy, haven't they? If you look at the top 7, even 8 teams in the Premier League, everyone's got to buy. Everyone's got to at least do something. City have got to refresh really with losing Aguero and people like that.
Messi's contract's up.
Yeah, Messi's up. Like United, they've got to buy, because then there's Chelsea, who've got a new manager who I'm sure wants to buy his own players. We've got to buy. Everton have.
Yeah.
I've seen a thing today that Everton with like James and that may be leaving, so they've got to then reshuffle again. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I think this summer it might be one of them where everyone wants to move but the money's not quite there.
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I think the footy this weekend is, as much as we've moaned about it for months, it's finishing on a high. That's
what we need, isn't it? Obviously we do. I'm not a big international football fan, so I want to see the back of the domestic leagues and then reset in August without VAR, with a bit of luck, and just go again. But yeah, I'm glad it's ended on a positive. I don't want to be constantly negative.
No, I know. On VAR as well, just on that note, I seen on Carragher's latest podcast he done with Ali McCoist, and they were talking about commentary and being a co-commentator, and just even as them as doing their job, they feel like they've got to hold back a little bit because of VAR and
players are holding back, so I'm sure they are, like
celebrations and things.
Said that to a good mate of mine, Adam. We were speaking the other day, and I said to him, celebrating's gone. Like, within 5 years, if this stays in, people will not celebrate. It'll be back to the 50s, you know, where everyone just jumps up and down the spot. Yeah. That's what it'd be like, but it because even when they score now, the first thing they do is they look at the linesman or the...
Well, that's what Carrick was saying. He's saying you're looking straight away before you're commentating and you're getting the words are just falling out your mouth and these magical moments of commentary are getting created, like Aguero or the Steven Gerrard, you beauty, you know, all that. They're looking at them, so...
Them 3-4 seconds of elation for a player, a commentator, a fan, a coach, a pundit, for everyone. Them 3 seconds where nothing else matters in the world are the best. You know, as a fan, like when you're mental... But they're getting taken away though, because it's like, right, we've scored. Have we scored? Yes, we have. Kick off. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's taken away that, like, I believe human errors are part of football, and it always should be. I'd rather lose to a couple of bad decisions a season and win a couple of bad decisions a season than have this perfect game, because I just don't believe football's designed to be perfect.
And also, it's not consistent anyway. No. This computer, they're picking up on certain things and it's getting viewed a certain way on one angle and not another. And it, again, I'm with you, mate. I'd go with human error. I'd take a few dodgy. Some
go for you, some don't. And I know people will say, well, some go for you, some don't in VAR, and that's fine, but it takes away the spontaneity of it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You want to go into a football game and be like, anything can happen. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And you want to get to the final 5 minutes, think we can still nick this, but I hope it doesn't get rolled out.
100%, mate. No, I agree. So, yeah. Footy looking good this weekend, and hopefully Liverpool get the top 4. What have you got on the boxing?
We got a brilliant fight, Taylor Ramirez. Unfortunately, it's on Fight TV, which is the same app that had Liam Smith on a couple of weeks ago. It's a unified for the undisputed super lightweight championship. Every belt in the division, 2 undefeated fighters, 2 former Olympians, both can take a shot, both can knock people out. Unbelievable fight. No Premier broadcaster in the UK has picked it up. Sky, BT, even Channel 5, no one.
It's disgusting, isn't it? We're moaning about the Logan Pauls of the world and that getting all these views, and
Sky have just picked up Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather, but didn't pick up this. This is as good as boxing gets. Like, it does not get any better than this. These 2 are elite fighters. They're not going to take a backward step. Both don't know how to. Both were elite amateurs. Both are elite professionals. I think Ramirez is 26-0, 17 KOs. Taylor's 17-0, 13 KOs. Perfect.
Even when you just get 2 fighters who are both undefeated, I think that's a draw in itself. And exactly. You're like, wow, someone's,
But no one's picked it up apart from this Fight TV, and I don't want to downplay Fight TV. Good on them. At least we can still watch it, but you got to pay $9.99 on your computer or your phone. It should be on. It should be everywhere. This should be all over Sky Sports News or whatever. Do you know what I mean? These massive coverage should be like cameras over there going mad for it. Just not. But it's on ESPN in America, so hopefully they get a thing from there. But it's everything that's wrong with the sport, mate. I was listening to something today. I don't want to profess to be a genius here and say I knew this, but since 1988, when all the 4 governing bodies were formed, some were formed in the 60s, 70s, but this, like WBO, WBA, IBF, WBC, have been together since 1988. And this has only happened 4 times where someone will hold every belt.
Really?
4 times. Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor, Terence Crawford, Alexander Usyk. No one else has done it. And one of these are going to do it on the weekend. Unless there's a draw, and it's not... Do you know what I mean? Boxing, like, professors that it wants to, like, it's flying and all this stuff. But if it is...
But it's not, is it? Clearly it's not.
The circus is flying. Do you know what I mean? This is... We need, obviously the stuff I'm sure we're going to talk about in the next couple of minutes, but Fury and AJ, again... Just craziness. This should be everywhere, mate.
It should be, mate. You'd like to think as well that there are boxing people in the likes of the Sky and the BT.
Adam Smith's the top fella there. Ed Robinson and Adam Smith. These 2 have been in boxing for years. Spent time with like Lennox Lewis, wrote books, everything. And they're choosing to put Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul on over this. There's
no other arguments I'm not having anyway. That is getting shown other than money, other than financial gain.
Literally. I mean, it screams to me that they're getting out of boxing events soon, so they just want one last cash grab sort of thing. Don't really care about this fight, but it's still sad. Sad for Josh Taylor, because he could be like the first unified champion from Scotland since Ken Buchanan, and like he's a god up there. he should be getting the whole... It's in Vegas this weekend. I know, no, you haven't got the old travelling fans like the Ricky Hatton days and stuff like that, but like he should be getting the whole red carpet thing.
Yeah.
Like, look at what he could do for British boxing. Well, stuck away on an app. But, you know, that's just where boxing's at, mate. And, like,
and how much is Sky charging for this Logan Paul fucking
20 quid.
20 quid.
4 in the morning. If anyone buys that, mate, I don't like to push things on people, but you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You are an idiot. Because it's non-competitive. It's not even the circus of, like, Ben Askren and his brother. Like, oh, MMA fighter and this fighter. This is one of the best boxers to ever walk against an idiot who's good at YouTube. Fair play to him. Good at YouTube.
Yeah.
But he's not a good fighter. It's non-competitive. I think he weighs like 220 pounds. Floyd Mayweather weighs like 150. And he's still going to lose. But that's where boxing's at, mate. And like your little sigh out there is exactly how I feel all the time.
Because you are the one, mate. Like I say, I'm getting people to stop me and say, what's Jordan's tips? And this and that. Mate, you are the man who defends boxing, who loves it. And to hear you say what a sad state of affairs it's in at the minute, it's
endless, mate. And then obviously we get this Fury AJ thing, which again, underlined by money.
So many wrong things about that. The fact that it's in Saudi, I think, is wrong. We touched on it, I think, last week about, you know, the human rights aspect. And it's like, if the money's right, we'll turn a blind eye to certain things and let's just get the money in. And then now you see Wilder's come out and it said there's a contract there.
Yeah.
I mean, for those who don't know, do you want to explain a little bit?
So basically, Fury and Wilder fought twice. In that contract for the second fight, they were contracted to fight for a third time. But basically, the second fight was non-competitive. You know, we were in Vegas for it. Fury beat him up. Wilder then faded wherever he went. Fury went on to negotiate with AJ. Now at the final hour, Wilder's gone through a court of arbitration and said, no, you've got it, and they've ruled that he has to abide by the contract he's previously signed to fight Wilder for the third time. But, you know, it's common knowledge that this is obviously not this type by law thing because it can be resolved by the right amount of money. It's just sad. So what happens now is either Fury goes and fights Wilder and Joshua fights Usyk, which no one really wants, or they find the money to pay Wilder what he wants. But obviously Wilder's saying, I don't want money, I want the redemption. But there's a reason he
fuck that, that's all the shite.
Reason he come out, you know, a day before the announcement or whatever, heard how much money Saudi are paying and then said, oh, by the way.
Do you think he's waited on purpose?
100%, yeah, because, you know, if he wanted this redemption and stuff, he'd have been banging this drum for months. He'd just been saying, I'm in court, you're not doing nothing until I've gone through court, do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be a case of, obviously the court pushed it through now, but it wouldn't be a case of, you know, you're a day from announcement, I've just heard the figures that are involved, 75 million each. No, there's a reason it happened now. Because in his mind, he's owed 40, 50 million.
Yeah,
rightly or wrongly.
Well, that's it. You know, you're thinking about it now that you've said it, you've not heard anything from Wilder, have you?
No.
He's not been calling out anyone, he's not been...
For someone who says he wants this fight so much, he's been inactive for 18 months, he's coming off the back of a defeat, he's not got a trainer, he's training with a guy called Malik Scott, who is a heavyweight that Wilder beat up a couple of years ago. So he's doing pads with him in his house. And he's saying he basically wants to go into the biggest fight of his career with 18 months in inactivity, no real training team, no warm-up fight, but he really wants it. Just doesn't...
No.
Things don't add up, do you know what I mean? It's like 3 + 3 = 25. It's just not...
And he's sitting there and it's almost as if someone's went to him, hey, do you remember you've got that contract to fight?
To be fair to him, he's quite clever, really, because he knows that these now are backed into a corner where they either pay him what he wants or this doesn't happen because the fighters don't want to pay him. And like the governing bodies will shy away a little bit, and then he's in a power position. He's like, pay me and I'll let you fight. Don't pay me and I'll force my hand.
How much do you think he'll...
The rumours were 20 million, but if it was a 20 million, he'd been paid it. I reckon north of 30, 40 million. I reckon.
Imagine getting paid that much money to just say...
Because you got beat up.
Yeah. You got battered by someone and you're like...
But they're saying Joshua and Fury before anything, before pay-per-view, before merchandise, before anything, will earn 75 million each. Flat fee. Which is obviously going to rise over 100, isn't it, when you add everything up? So then you would then figure that maybe for him it would be half of what they eventually get. That's just what I'm working off. So if he works out they're going to earn 100 million, he obviously lands around 50 then.
How much do you think he got for the previous fight?
Oh, he got paid well. mate, I don't
think
know.
You get paid more by not fighting.
100%. He'll never have had a payday. I mean, I know he said he turned down 100 million from the zone for 6 fights and stuff like that, but he'd have never had a sum of money this big, one sum of money. And he's 36 now. You know, like, I mean, he's not short of a few quid already.
I think it's about who blinks first now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, Paul Smith made a great point about saying what Fury and Joshua should do is say, like, you know, we're dropping every belt and we're just having this fight anyway. We're going to get a licence in Saudi, off the Saudi, you know, Athletic Commission, and we'll just fight for no belt but the Ring Magazine, because the Ring Magazine's basically a belt that was developed by the Ring Magazine years ago, but it's like a separate entity, and it become like the premium belt in boxing. So basically, if they do that, then that sort of sets the precedent to these governing bodies, as if to say, like, you know, you sort it out, because if these people get threatened with, you know, the loss of future sanctioning fees and the loss of money, they'll find the money for Wilder. And it's not their fault. It's not directly the governing body's fault this time. A lot of things in boxing are their fault, but it's not directly their fault this time. But it's about a statement. It's about saying someone needs to pay him, otherwise we will then, your belt will become obsolete. You know what I mean? It's like a little bit of a merry-go-round, but for the greater good.
How do these boxing commissions make the money? You say boxing sanctions, I mean...
So yeah, this fight in the weekend's 4 belts. Josh Taylor will have to pay for what the belts he has, and the belt Ramirez have to pay a sanctioning fee, which is a percentage of whatever the fight generates or their pays. So, you know, Canelo has, I don't know, 8 belts. He pays probably close to double-figure millions.
And why? Just for what?
Sanction fee, just for the beauty of being their champion.
Wow.
But there's a reason, like, they're constantly making belts, and they're constantly making
I might make the fucking Leg It Podcast.
Leg It Podcast belt. Like, there's a reason, do you know what I mean? It's like, there's a reason there's a regular champion in some governing bodies, and there's this super champion and all this crap. But, you know, now's the time for Fury and Joshua, the 2 biggest stars, you know, outside of Canelo in the sport, to say, you know, it's not happening no more. We'll fight anyway.
Mate, and if they don't do that, where are they getting the money from? Whether, let's just say 30 mil.
They either ask Saudi to give them more, or they pay it. Eddie pays it. Someone comes up with the money, but...
Who's going to pay that? To a fella who's got nothing to do with the event.
It's like you're saying to them, the Saudis, who said, right, here's 155 million for your event. We're going to build a £30 million stadium, purpose built. We're going to bring everyone over here. We're going to do that. And then saying to them, you got an extra 30 mil.
You got some fella 10,000 miles away.
Where's that going? Say, just leave it. It's a mess. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's a figure out there, financial figure, that solves this. It's worth finding it. And how they find it. And in my opinion, as Paul Smith rightly said, put it on the governing bodies and say, you've had your sanctioning fees now for however long you've been going. About time you give something back. And
then it takes you back to like the UFC, don't you, which you've said a few times.
No, mate, I you know, I've said to you, fastest growing sport in the world. You know, boxing's here, UFC's here now. It's coming, like, it's catching. Because there's one belt, one division, one belt, one champion. The best fight the best. You don't get no gimmicks. Everyone knows who the champion is. Everyone knows who, you know, well, not everyone, but everyone involved will know who the welterweight champion of the UFC is, Kamaru Usman. You ask for the welterweight champion of boxing, your old days, you know what I mean? You know, you got Errol Spencer got a couple, Terence Crawford's got one, he's got one, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes a mockery of it a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, it dilutes it, doesn't it? It dilutes the status of a champion, but, you know, I strongly believe that MMA is closing. MMA and UFC in particular, because there is other MMA promotions, but UFC in particular is closing on boxing at a serious rate.
Well, if this fight doesn't happen with Fury Joshua, then yeah, I think even more people will be switching off.
Because people get disillusioned, you know, whether the people in boxing care about this, but they do. And they'll be like, you know, oh yeah, this is a load of rubbish, what's happening here? Even people who can't watch Taylor Ramirez this weekend will go, I can't watch that, but oh yeah, Cody Garbrandt, Rob Font, which is the UFC event this weekend, that's on BT Sport. That was on BT Sport last night. I'll catch up on that on BT this morning. And then they go, hang on a minute, I enjoyed that. I'll watch next week, and I'll watch the week after, and I'll watch the YouTube channel, and do you know what I mean? Then people, you know, if enough people keep doing that,
it's like you said as well, I've heard you mention when you talk about the odds for fighters, sometimes you're watching boxing, the 1 to 16, 1 to 33.
Ridiculous.
UFC, they're all very close.
If you look at the UFC event this weekend, they say Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font, which is a brilliant fight. Cody Garbrandt's one of my favourite UFC fighters. He's one of them people who gets hit and he just loses his head. He just gets after his opponent then. Sees the red miss. But yeah, so I think he's evens, and Rob Font's 5 to 6, and all the way through the cards the exact same thing. I think the smallest favourite's probably 1 to 3, 1 to 2 or something like that. You'll always get one of them, but so competitive. And you know, we've talked about Paddy and stuff going into the UFC. When Paddy goes in, he's not going to fight a journeyman. He's going to go in and fight someone who's ambitious as well. Maybe someone coming off a few losses, but not someone who's like just there to survive. It's there who believes he'll be UFC champion as well.
Yeah.
And UFC, mate, they've got it perfect. The marketing strategy's perfect. The content on YouTube.
Content is great, isn't it?
You can watch UFC content and not have a clue what's going on, and you'll enjoy it. Trust me. You know, all the pay-per-view events have this thing called Embedded, where they do 6 episodes through the week, like little 10-minute episodes, brilliant. And I'm telling you now, the closing on boxing, I think that hurts me to say because I love boxing, always will, but you know, you'd be stupid not to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But going back to Taylor Ramirez, like, brilliant fight. You know, my bet is not actually in this fight this week, me too, because I just can't.
Well, I was going to say, what are you thinking for it?
It's too close. I mean, Taylor's favourite, but I think he's too short. But I wouldn't back against him because I think he's brilliant. Ramirez is, again, a brilliant fighter. I just don't see a point. I think Taylor's 4 to 5 to win decision. But I wouldn't be confident putting my money there because Ramirez doesn't know how to lose. And, you know, it's just too close to call. I think the only place I haven't put any money down yet, and if I'm having a bet in boxing, I've put my money down before now. For me, the 20 to 1 on the draw is the only thing that I'd be interested in.
It's worth a fiver then, at least.
And all for me now, you know, it's developing a point where you say sometimes the best bet's no bet, and it's so true. You know, you can't force bet. If you want to get good at it or you want to make a success of it, you can't force them. You got to, you know, wait until the right options come up. But yeah, I'm just going to sit, enjoy it, buy it on my little app, enjoy it, and yeah, have a little tenner on the draw maybe.
One for the boxing enthusiast, and and I hope people do support it, and hopefully they're in for a good fight.
Yeah, that's it, mate, hopefully.
What is your bet then?
So I've pulled in my little horse racing cavalry again this weekend. Said that I'm down, well, I'm drawn, I need something. But,
well, you've had 100% success rate on the GGs. So far, so.
Got a strong team, mate, I'm telling you, down south. But yeah, my bet is Dragon Symbol, Haydock 335. Haydock's got fans in again this weekend.
On Saturday or
yeah, Saturday. Probably going to get rained on all weekend, but you know, fans back in there. But yeah, from what I'm, you know, I know myself, but you know, people who I look for their opinion on this horse, they think is something a bit special. He's 3 to 1. You know, that's me. He's got bigger sort of plans in his mind. The Commonwealth Cup at Royal Ascot in June is his aim. Group 1. You know, I'll back him. We will. The podcast will back him again then. But you know, if he comes out and gets a win this weekend, he'll shorten in price for that. So yeah, I'm on board this weekend, and I'll be on board again in June. But yeah, hopefully he comes home 3 to 1.
Nice, yeah, as well. A little bit bigger, 3 to 1. I'm going to go for my bet this weekend. A bit of a shitty bet that, you know, I remember Harry Finley telling me, you know, never bet on, you know, kind of first goal bets and stuff. It's the type of bet that bookies love.
Who's easy to listen to.
I know, yeah. Only one fucking never worked a day in his life. Bets all the time and wins. Yeah. But it's the type of bet that the bookies love because it is so difficult to kind of nail. But where it coming down, last game of the season, Salah and Kane both tied on the Golden Boot, 22 goals I think it is. Salah's 9 to 5 to score first goal, and he's also 13 to 8 for 2 or more. I just think, you know, Salah, the player he is, you know, he is one for the team. He does always track back and he does work hard, but you know, this one season wonder couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah,
you know,
people still discredit him now.
He's how many? He's about a fucking 5 season wonder.
He's gonna go shit soon.
You know, he was joint top goal scorer, I think it was last season. He's joint now going into the last day of the season. He's going to want to get that for himself.
Yeah, of course.
He's going to need to outscore Kane. And I just think, you know, at home, fans in the ground, playing against Crystal Palace, where I'm playing for nothing, you've got to back Salah to score.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as you say, he's a massive team player, but, you know, he has got that individualistic streak that you need to be one of the best goal scorers in the league. Yeah,
I mean, I'm only looking on Betfair at the moment. He's 9 to 5. You shop around, you might get better price for him. But I think Salah first goal around 2 to 1, let's say.
You're beating them from all angles.
Mate, and I think the team will know.
You
know, if you know, I mean, if you are going to back him 2 or more, and let's, for example, say he gets the first, and we're 2-0 up, mate, they're going to be putting on a play for him. They're going to want him to get top goal scorer.
It's one of the last things that, you know, the team can achieve, really. I know he gets the award, but it's one of them, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
And if he is the league's top scorer, based on the season we've had, it's more credit to him because, you know, as we say, people still discredit him. Our own fans still discredit him. I've listened to people in the game say, obviously when we were in the game, but people on Twitter, or even people I know, say he's not that good. Say, you must be mad.
He will go down as one of the greatest. 100%.
When he leaves, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not appreciated until he's gone.
And for me, I'm not, you know, I know we've had Suarez and stuff like that, but I rank Salah above that because, for me, he's so much more than a goal scorer. He does not shy away from 1 yard of hard work. Salah, do you know what I mean? And
Suarez did.
Yeah, of course
Suarez
he did,
was a fucking moaning bastard.
I know I mean, don't get me wrong, he closed people down and he was a bit dirty and all that stuff, which was great, but he could also throw his toys and not move.
Oh yeah.
Salah can play terrible, but he'll still graft.
Don't forget, fucking, he was put in the reserves because he fucking wanted to leave. You know, exactly, people forget he wanted to go to Arsenal. You know, he wanted to go.
I know. I mean, I appreciate what Suarez was, but I don't have the same sort of love for him. But for me, Salah, he's just...
Yeah, he's the man, Mo. Absolute man. And by all accounts, he's a bit of a legend off the pitch as well, from the way he does what you see. So, yeah, mate, I think 2-1 for him, first goal is going to be my bet.
Yeah.
Yours at 3-1, nice little double. And like you say, we'll get the little a table up of our bets.
Yeah. I think we've done all right. I mean, we're in our infancy, aren't we, as a sportcast? And, you know, just to sort of go off on a tangent, I mean, we have got some exciting stuff coming up in terms of what you said, the guests. And
yeah, big plans. We want to get some guests on the Sportscast as well to talk about, obviously, their stories and more, you know, about what's going on this weekend in their particular sport, which is going to be good. We've got a big sponsor lined up as well, which is exciting news, which we'll be announcing soon. And again, you know, throw out to you guys, if there's anything that you want to see more of, certain guests you want to see, topics touched upon, then let us know. But again, the support's been great from the amount of messages and people saying things and enjoying it. It's been good, and most importantly, I'm enjoying sitting down here and putting the world right on sport every week.
So that's what it is, mate. I mean, obviously we love doing it, but you know, and we're going to keep doing it regardless, really. But you know, it's growing and people are being kind about it. It's great. But yeah, another thing just before we go, one of my mates plays for South Liverpool, which is like an old school amateur football club in obviously in Liverpool. And I've just seen they've been promoted to step 6 of football for the first time in like 30 years. So they'll enter like the non-league pyramid.
Brilliant.
So that's good for local footy. You know, Liverpool, I don't care if I'm biased, is the hotbed of amateur football, hotbed of non-league football. So well done to Ali and obviously the rest of his team.
Will they go into the FA Cup start, will they?
I think it's like, I don't know if they go into the FA Cup, but like the early prelim round, but they play in like the FA Vars, the FA Trophy, which is all go to Wembley and stuff like that. I think it is step 6 where they're at, but you know, it's the start of them.
Best of luck to them.
And any, you know, good footy teams that we have in Liverpool is the better, really. So yeah, good luck to them.
Yeah, best of luck. Yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the podcast. Massive thanks again to the Social Scousers. They're the ones who help us with all our social media needs. And check them out if you need them done, really. George, thank you very much.
Spot on, mate.
Hope you enjoy. Tell your friends, like, subscribe. I'll see you next week.